Most animal species on the planet, over 75%, belong to the phylum Arthropoda. Arthropod means jointed leg. This phylum includes several animals that go nicely with melted butter, like shrimp, crab, and lobster. Also within Arthropoda, there are 4 classes of animals that are most relevant to terrestrial wildlife management, and less frequently eaten in this country. They are Chilopoda, Diplopoda, Arachnida, and Insecta. Basically put an A on the end of things that creep you out, arachnids, which include spiders, and insects, and you can remember 2 classes of terrestrial arthropods. The other 2, Chilopoda and Diplopoda, are no less creepy, but their names aren't as telling. They are the centipedes and the millipedes, respectively. For this video, I will refer to these 4 classes together as forest arthropods. These forest arthropods account for a substantial amount of biomass in forest systems. They often constitute some of the lower trophic levels, providing food for numerous animals. 3 of these 4 groups contain predators themselves, many of which help to control populations of pestiferous insects. Millipedes and many insects are detritivores, providing an ecosystem service by helping to remove dead materials and improve soil. Many insects are pollinators, and bees make honey, and honey is good. But despite all of this, forest arthropods are understudied in wildlife management. In an analysis of primary literature focused on wildlife, nearly 5,000 wildlife articles were searched from 2003 to 2013. Only 2.5% included invertebrates, and less than 1% featured invertebrates as the focal species. The disparity between arthropod diversity and arthropod studies in wildlife management is shocking. Be sure to remember the importance of forest arthropods in your work in wildlife management. Before I start discussing management as it relates to forest arthropods, I will give a brief description of what defines each of the 4 classes that I'm lumping together. Chilopods are centipedes. They have 1 pair of legs for each body segment. In general, centipedes are venomous, carnivorous, and predatory. Their first 2 appendages are venom claws. They are found in leaf litter, under logs, and other places that are humid enough to prevent them from drying out. House centipedes are the exception, and mostly live between your mattress and box springs. Diplopods are millipedes, and they have 2 pair of legs for each body segment. They are non-venomous, but many are chemically defended and excrete toxins to deter or harm potential predators. Millipedes also are commonly found in leaf litter because they are typically detritivores, which means that they eat decaying plant matter. Arachnids have 8 legs, but they also have 2 pair of appendages near their mouths that are used for handling food and for sensory perception. Arachnida includes ticks, mites, scorpions, spiders, and more. While most arachnids are carnivorous, few eat solid food. Most arachnids digest their prey outside of their bodies, then drink up the freshly liquefied prey. Insects are, insects. Insects all have 6 legs and a pair of antennae. Insects include butterflies, beetles, ants, termites, cockroaches, and much, much more. Insects are the most diverse group of animals on the planet, and they account for over half of all known species, plant or animal. So a good first question is, why would anything intentionally eat forest arthropods? Arthropods are on the menu because they can be crazy high in protein. Lentils are well known for their high protein content. They're at about 25% protein. A Wendy's cheeseburger, single patty, is just over 20% protein. Forget about the cheeseburger, the cow itself is between 19 and 26% protein. Baked, skinless chicken is about 25%. Outside of processed protein products, it is almost impossible to find a food with over 25% protein by content. Insects, however, can be up to 77% protein. True, most insects are closer to 50% protein, and they can be as low as 7%, but still, protein content that is often close to 50% makes these arthropods an irresistible source of protein for many animals. Many frogs, toads, and salamanders consume mostly arthropods. The same is true for many lizards and even small snakes. More birds eat arthropods than I could possibly hope to list, but here are a few that might catch the attention of land managers. Adult wild turkey eat grasshoppers and cicadas. Turkey poults diets can be around 75% arthropods because they need that protein to grow. Old fields can support high grasshopper populations. The diet of northern bobwhite is highest in arthropods in the spring and when the birds are young. Again, the chicks need the protein to grow. Early successional vegetation can provide for northern bobwhite both cover and also food in the form of arthropods. Red cockaded woodpeckers rely heavily on wood cockroaches. Wood cockroaches can be over 50% of the diet of RCW nestlings. Dead woody debris supports wood cockroach populations. Nine-banded armadillos are insectivores that eat mostly ants, termites, and other small invertebrates. A note: the term insectivore often means that the critter eats arthropods, not just insects specifically. An armadillo is not going to skip a millipede meal just because we call armadillos insectivores. The range of the armadillo so far only just reaches the North Carolina border, but they've been expanding rapidly northward. They cannot tolerate harsh winters. That should be less of a problem in the future. Black bears eat bee and beetle larvae. If you've ever watched a bear rolling over downed wood, then you've seen a bear foraging for beetle larvae, which can be some rather large grubs. The larvae of bees and beetles are an especially easy prey item for black bears because they don't bite or sting when you try to eat them. Black bears also eat honey and will tolerate quite a few stings to get it. Availability of downed wood and snags will create habitat for wood-boring beetles, Hercules, and rhinoceros beetles, all of which feed in rotting wood. Bees will benefit from prescribed burning, which increases availability of herbaceous flowering plants. Bees are also abundant in old fields and other early successional plant communities. Little brown bats are insectivores and will take even small prey, like midges and mosquitoes. Nobody likes either of those. Creating natural hollows and snags can provide roosting sites for little brown bats. Several insects are voracious insectivores themselves. Odonata, which are dragonflies and damselflies, are aquatic as nymphs and predatory as both nymphs and adults. Maintaining plant structure near shorelines of any riparian or wetland area can provide perching spots for adult dragonflies and damselflies. Both will require emergent aquatic vegetation, such as pickerel weed. Nymphs ready to leave the water climb the stems and become adults. Also, some species of dragonflies place their eggs in aquatic or semi-aquatic plant tissues, so again, maintain plants in and around lentic and lotic areas. Adult odonates will eat a variety of insects, but frequently consume mosquitoes, midges, and moths, which is great because many moth larvae are pests in agriculture. Mosquitoes and midges are just pests. Praying mantises do well in old fields, field borders, and the understory of open forests where insect prey is abundant. Praying mantises will eat just about anything they can get their little raptorial legs on. Maintaining early successional vegetation can benefit praying mantises and many other arthropods. Ladybird beetles, or ladybugs if you prefer, do well in a variety of habitat types. They are important predators of aphids and scale insects, both of which do considerable harm to plants as they are sap-sucking feeders. Maintaining planted field borders along the margins of cropland without the application of a broad-spectrum insecticide will provide habitat for ladybird beetles to pick off the pests you miss. Therefore, they are helpful biocontrol insects. Field borders with native warm season grasses and forbs are habitat for the many natural enemies of pestiferous insects, including mantises, ladybird beetles, and parasitoid wasps. Field borders with grasses and forbs also provide cover for northern bobwhite chicks foraging for arthropods. Even some plants take advantage of nutrients from arthropods. The Venus flytrap, several species of pitcher plants, sundews, and others will take arthropod prey. The Venus flytrap is endemic to North and South Carolina. It's endangered, and probably the most recognizable plant in the world. These carnivorous plants typically occur in bogs with limited soil nitrogen. These plants benefit from short return interval fires to reduce woody plant competition. Also, in the case of the Venus flytrap, land managers need to guard against poaching. For the last arthropod important to wildlife management in this video, I'll offer the example of the inadvertent poisoning of dung beetles. There are dung beetles all around the world, in various habitat types, and they provide an important ecosystem service because they process, bury, and eat dung of all shapes and sizes. If insecticide is on plants that an animal eats, or if there is an aerial application, dung beetles may be killed. Imagine a world without the removal of dung. Or don't, because it would be really gross. Be judicious with insecticide applications. In summary, managing for beneficial forest arthropods is not much different than managing for other, larger wildlife. Field borders provide great opportunities to improve habitat. Riparian and wetland boundaries should be protected. Maintain snags, downed wood. Burn frequently to improve the herbaceous layer. These are all strategies to help wildlife, including forest arthropods.